Okay.
I was born and raised in Wisconsin.
Oh my gosh, me too.
I know, I can tell because of your Green Bay Packers garb. I was gonna
That
ask
is
you. That was gonna
that
be
is
my first
hilarious.
question. Yeah.
And then I went
Yeah.
to high school and college in Oshkosh.
Dude, I went to college in Oshkosh.
You're a fellow Titan? Hey, that's me, Joel-ATX. I sell sports cards on Whatnot. Look at me go. Do you want to level up your game? Then you're in the right place, my friends. On 5 with Joel-ATX, I sit down with some of my favorite Whatnot streamers. See? Look at them. We dive into what it takes to really succeed. We talk about the hobby, the challenges of streaming, what works, what doesn't, and the lessons we've learned along the way. Every episode is designed to make you a better streamer, a better seller, and maybe even a better collector. If you're ready to level up, let's get started.
Believe it or not, this is the second time I've been on a podcast.
Okay.
Um, for kind of like not the first one was not about Whatnot. It was just kind of about like YouTube and reselling, just the other
Yep.
side of my life. So I was really excited to do this one because I was like, well, that was really fun because I got to
Yeah.
I got to meet a new person and then kind of like jump into a different world for a minute. And I just thought it was really fun. So
Well, that was kind of what, and this is part of the introduction, but by the way, I'm talking to TaylorJoFlips. That's how she goes on YouTube and Whatnot. I know you do Poshmark, and I wrote down the other one,
eBay.
eBay and Depop. I don't know what Depop is.
Yeah, it's like a more younger. It's kind of more like Y or like Gen Z, like Y2K themed stuff, but you can actually kind of sell anything on there. So
Oh, nice, nice.
it's clothing, yeah.
So for you guys listening at home, Taylor does not sell sports cards on Whatnot. I know, shocker, right? So we are branching off, and so I'll do a quick introduction. So I was on the YouTube, and she showed up on my algorithm. She showed up my feed. I clicked it because it said something. I think it was your first or second video of a series about like how to be successful and whatnot, but not be dependent on giveies. And right away, I'm like, yes, I want to watch this. And everything you said to me or to the audience, Taylor, really resonated with me. And I was like, wow, this translates so well to the sports card reseller world on Whatnot as well. And so
Really.
I went down that rabbit hole and started watching your videos, and I was like, Taylor's awesome. So I reached out to you on Instagram, and you said, hell yeah. And so here we are,
Yeah.
you guys. This is awesome. So I'm hoping if you know you might be into reselling sports cards or maybe not, but I think what you're gonna see in this conversation is we have a lot of commonalities and a lot of struggles and challenges and wins. And even though we're selling different things, it's the same platform and I guess the concept is the same. So first and foremost, thank you so much, Taylor, for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. It's a cool concept.
Before we hit record, we totally bonded, you guys. We're both from Wisconsin. How crazy is that?
And went to the same college, which is
And
super
went to
weird.
the same college. Go Titans. She is
Yeah,
now
go
in
Titans.
the North Carolina, Charlotte area. I'm obviously in Austin, Texas. But wow, what a small world that is.
Super small
She
world.
also doesn't know much about sports, so we're not going to talk about sports. And I'm totally okay with that. Um, so let's get started. First of all, one of the things that stood out to me is that you quit your job to become a full-time reseller. And by the way, she specializes in clothes and jewelry. And as you can see, she sells everywhere, which I think is incredibly smart. You can't just sell in one platform or one avenue. You got to
Right.
diversify. And so kind of walk me through that. Like that's a very brave decision to say, you know what? Damn the man. I'm going to do my own
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, so I actually started off as I was actually a stay-at-home mom
Okay.
um, when my child was born up until she was like 3, and then I tried a normal job and it didn't. I was like, no,
Didn't stick.
I can't do this anymore. Like I can't work for work for somebody else. And then we decided that I would be a stay-at-home mom again. And then we were like, how are we gonna like I need something to do. And it just kind of started off as my husband Jonah was like, you should resell stuff. Like I think you'd be really good at that. And I was like, you're crazy. That's stupid. There's no way I'm doing that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, whatever, I'll just give it a go. And then I just got addicted to it. And I've always wanted a YouTube channel, and I was like, well, finally have a topic to make a YouTube channel about. So let's just go ahead and do that. And then a year and a half, almost 2 years now later, it's turned into a very significant chunk of our income.
Yeah.
And my husband was like, if I quit my job, I can use my time
To
to
help you
help you
scavenge and
beef
yeah,
that
yeah,
up. Yeah.
yeah.
So he was kind of seeing like Taylor's pursuing her dreams, pursuing her passions, and has the flexibility to spend time with the family, which is more important to us than anything else. So I think we kind of just, and I feel like this is kind of a movement that's happening all over right now, especially
I
with
would
our
agree.
generations,
Yeah.
where people are like, wait, whose idea was it that we need to work 40 hours a week to try to climb the corporate ladder and then be underpaid and undervalued and overused and so we kind of just were like, we're just gonna take the risk and just take the leap. And my husband went to go quit his job, and we were very fortunate that they were like, no, 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 please, please stay.
Yeah.
Name terms, you know. So now he works 3 days a week, but we took a significant pay cut to do so. So we're
Mhm.
still grateful for that base income. But yeah, I have no regrets. I mean, we're not stressed at all. We're just like, this is great because we have so much flexibility and it's totally fine. You know, we're not
Yeah,
gonna,
I watched that. I watched your last video where you guys are driving for most of the time, and you can
yeah.
tell, you could just tell how naturally you enjoy where the world you're in right now. And so, oh, there's a dog behind you.
Oh, yeah. She's afraid. It's like thundering here and she's terrified of thunder. So she's
Cool coloring. What kind of dog is that?
she's a whippet. We have two whippets. So she's a
They're really
brindle.
fast, aren't they? Are they the
They
really
are
fast
very,
ones? Yeah, yeah.
very, very fast.
I
Yeah.
mean, if they're called Whippet, they better be fast.
Yeah, they whip it.
So that's great, and so one of the things that I mean, you're a natural on YouTube,
Yeah.
and I say the word resonate a lot, but you do a really good job with covering a challenge or dilemma that a lot of resellers have, and then you address it in such a great, structured, entertaining way. And so I don't want to jump ahead, but I do want to talk about just your YouTube, the inspiration, the process to execution, the editing. We're going to talk about that later. But I
Yeah.
want to talk about one question I have to ask is what is your best thrift store find?
My best thrift store find. Oh my
Maybe you
goodness.
don't have a best. I don't know. Maybe it's going to happen soon.
I think like just recently in a video, and I mean this isn't a thrift store find, it's a garage sale find, but
Same thing.
or a bin store find, and it wasn't even me. My mom is like so good at finding the needle in a haystack, the golden
Yeah.
treasure. She digs through bins, that's her thing. She loves doing it. And in a recent video I shared that we found um Grecian formula that is no longer sold. Um, yeah, just really freaking weird thing. But if you don't know what Grecian formula is, it's
I
the stuff
don't.
that turns your hair from being gray over time. And that made us, it was $1 per box, and we made $119 per box, and we had 10
Oh my
boxes. So that was
gosh.
$1,000. Yeah, so $1,000 on eight or 10 tiny little boxes of Grecian formula. So that was definitely one of our best and weirdest, like just a weird thing to resell, but I'll resell anything.
You must
So
have like comped it or priced it and been like, wait a minute, are you serious? I can get
yeah,
this much. So
yeah.
the reason I asked that, Taylor, I don't know if you saw recently over the past month, some guy was at a thrift store and found this old like warm up, like a basketball player warm up, and it said Chamberlain on the back. And so there's a famous, obviously one of the most well-known basketball players is Wilt Chamberlain, and
Hmm.
so he bought it for I think what did he buy it for? Like maybe $15 or $20, I think.
Oh my gosh.
And then $3. He paid $3. And then he decided to take it somewhere to get it actually like authenticated. And it turns out it actually was Wilt Chamberlain's like game worn jersey. And he
Whoa.
sold it for $90,000.
Oh my gosh.
So, I mean,
I'd be
just
like, okay,
imagine.
I'm not working for the rest of the year. I'm good.
And well, I tell this story two things because I mean, that's the crazy stuff that you can find anywhere at a garage sale or
Yeah.
your neighbor's Facebook Marketplace or the thrift store. But that's the kind of money that goes on in the sports world. Like there are crazy treasures now, and they're not all $90,000, but you can find like if you're at a thrift store and you see an old Michael Jordan card, you should buy it if it's a couple bucks because that thing could be $100. You never know, right? And
Right.
so. It's kind of the same thing. And I watch a couple of videos as you look for clothing and jewelry. That's probably your thought process as well. It's like I can get this and I can probably make a couple bucks on it.
Yeah, it's a little bit different when it's not collectible. So like I'm not in the collectible world like almost at all, and I understand why people are. I don't do very well with like the highly competitive market like that because I
Yeah.
get really overwhelmed with stuff and people, everything's worth what someone's willing to pay for it, right? So
Yep.
when it comes to collectibles, the amounts can just be like insane, and that world is just it's just like a whole different world. Like I props to you for being existing in that world because it's
It
just
is a little more
absolutely,
intense. You're right.
yeah, it's more tense and I am a very like chill. Like I just want things to like be how I want them to be. And I feel like the
Yep.
collectible world is so up and down, left and right. Oh, this is worth $50,000 one week, and then next year it's not going to be worth anything. And it's like, why?
It's exhausting, my friend. It is
Yeah,
exhausting, but it's also a rush, right? And so,
yeah,
but yeah, I can see
absolutely.
what you're saying is like you get to create your own identity, market, personality on your channel
Hmm.
because it's not all like, well, this just sold for $20, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you have your own personalities on your channels too. I feel like we just talked about that a little bit, like briefly. You were asking me what I was passionate about. My number
Yeah.
one thing when it comes to whatnot is like, just chill the heck out. Like, why are we screaming and begging people to buy from us and saying, "Oh, you guys are making me go broke," and I practically gave that away for free. Or like when
You're
people start
stealing from me,
whining,
chat.
"You're
Yeah.
stealing from me, chat. Bid it up, chat." I'm just like, just I don't like that. I really don't. So it's good to see somebody in your category that is not like that because I feel
Mhm.
like Whatnot's ads are very much geared towards, first of all,
Yeah.
sports cards and collectibles in general. And then all of the ads are people screaming. And I'm like, that is what made me not want to join Whatnot. It wasn't
Yeah.
until I met people that are like me that were like, no, no, what's not like that. And then I joined up and I was like, oh, you're right. It's not like that. So when you reached out to me, I was like, are you
Wait a minute.
chill?
Is he just going to scream at me for 30 minutes? Because that's not
Yeah,
fun.
right. Yeah,
Yeah, you're right,
exactly.
though. I mean, Whatnot really kind of like double clicked into like you got to be a screamer to be a good streamer, and like you get
Yeah,
on and sure, maybe 10 to 15% are the bad apples, and unfortunately it works.
yeah,
But it's not the right way to do business, and I know you and I both agree. And so from day one when I started streaming, I'm like, I will never do that. I will do
yep.
the exact opposite of that.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna chase just a good experience, a good time, a good product. And I
Yeah,
think, and consistency, and as long as I did those things, I was able to build a pretty good following around me. And that's really, it's no secret. And I think one of the things that I really liked about you is you talk about how there's no shortcuts. And I think that's super important.
yeah,
I like how you dive into gibbies where gibbies are important, but there has to be a strategy behind it. You can't just run gibbies and all of a sudden you've created hundreds of goblins that just want to hang out and then they leave after your gibby. Like
yep.
that's not the clientele you want. And so again,
Right.
everything you do just makes sense, and that's why I'm super stoked you're on here. So thank you for that.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. That's awesome.
Okay, so my next question is if you had to go back and do it all over again, when you said, you know what, this job isn't from, you're a stay-at-home mom, which is another full-time job in itself. And then you started working when your child turned 3. And then you said, you know what, maybe I could do this reseller thing. And now that you have, a couple of years of experience behind you, Taylor, is there one or two things that you would do differently if you had to start all over again?
Man, what would I do differently? I feel like I wish I would have been a little bit more accepting of how long it takes to build something from scratch.
Mm.
Like you think, you're going to get into reselling. You can only learn as much as you can learn by watching other people. You have to do
Yep.
it. And I wasn't really thinking that in my head. I was like, okay, I'm just going to watch all these reseller YouTube videos, and I'm just gonna learn everything there is to know about reselling, and then I'm gonna dive in and I'm just gonna be successful right off the bat. And like that's my mindset. And then I didn't
Yeah.
realize like, holy crap, I have to make so many mistakes, and I did in order to learn how to do this.
Yep.
And you don't realize until a couple years later that like, wow, I've been making mistakes and learning this entire time, and it won't stop. I will always be learning. I will continue to learn. Um,
You you bring up a good point, and I always tell new streamers like make mistakes, just don't repeat them, right? I
yeah,
mean, so there's no silver bullet. There's nothing I can tell you that all of a sudden is going to make you a great streamer. You have to go through the trial and errors. If you've seen my podcast, one of my very first questions I ask is, "Tell me about your first show," because I
Hmm.
love the fact that it's always a disaster, and
Yep.
because it's supposed to be a disaster. That's how we
Yeah.
learn. And guess what? Your second and third show probably suck too, and that's the way it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
And so, I love that. And then, do you want to talk about your first show? Do you remember about it? Do
Yes,
you
I
remember it?
do. My first
No.
show was actually recorded because for some reason in the beginning when I started, you could go live on YouTube at the same time you were going live on Whatnot. But for some reason, after my first like 10 shows, it stopped doing that.
Weird.
Um, so all of them are recorded. They're just not on my YouTube. I have them all privated, but I sold nothing my first show. I was live for an hour. I gave myself an hour time limit. I had max two, three-ish people in my show. Like I did not get that like first time show boost that everyone talks about. Like nothing.
You
So
didn't? Because usually
no.
everyone does. Interesting.
Mm-mm. There was nobody in my show, I swear. My mom was in my show.
Aw, go
So
mom.
yeah, my sweet mom. And yeah, no, I sold nothing. I started off with clothes because
Mhm.
that's what I sell, and I quickly learned within like a couple months of doing that that selling clothes on Whatnot is not for me. Also, it's a highly competitive category with like thousands
It's
and
one of the
thousands of
most,
people.
right?
It's
Clothes,
insane.
if
Yeah,
not
like
number one. Yeah,
no, yeah, if you're starting off on Whatnot, you might not want to start off on clothes unless you know that you're going to be like exclusively different from everyone else or you already have a following somewhere else. Because if you
sure.
look right now on women's fashion, it is endless streams of people that are currently live
Okay.
versus like you go to like something like 3D prints, for example, which is a category I just started recently selling in. There's like five people
Nice.
live at any given time. So maybe don't start in clothing.
So that's
It's also,
interesting. So as you well know, sports cards is like top three as well, and it's
yeah,
fiercely competitive, and it
yeah,
takes some real gumption to stick around and do things the right way and survive. So that's it's kind of a cool thing to think about. It's like, hey, look for a market that hasn't been saturated yet. And so
yeah.
3D printing, right? I mean, my 5-year-old daughter's addicted to Legos now. So I started looking at some Lego streams and there's not that many and a lot of them are
Yeah.
international, which is weird. And I can't do the
Oh
shipping
yeah.
on that. So
Yeah.
like again, just those niches that you
Yeah,
could
find
find,
the hidden
niches.
things that I do a Whatnot seller help show the last Tuesday of every month.
Oh,
And
cool.
I had a couple of people who were asking, like, hey, I sell across a bunch of different categories. Which category should I put my show in? And I just said,
Mhm.
figure out which one has the least amount of shows happening at the same time during
Yeah.
your time frame, because that's the one you're going to want to pick, no matter what it is you're selling inside the show. That's just my opinion. But yeah, and that's kind of how I discovered like the 3D print section because I was like stalking the 3D print shows and I'm just like, this is interesting. There's not as many as I thought there would be. And a lot of the people in the 3D print shows kind of all sell the same stuff. Like
Okay.
they'll find like what's trending and print all of that, and then everyone's selling the same type of prints. And I'm just like, okay, like maybe we'll try something different and see how that sticks.
And so are you or your husband into 3D printing then?
Yeah, we actually just recently bought our first 3D printer. It's something that we've been interested in for a long time, but we didn't want to spend the money until we've kind of figured out if it was like going to be
Sure.
profitable. Like we wanted it for personal use. But then I was like, if I have a good enough Whatnot following to like sell 3D prints, I can do it. And I actually recently just did a raid train and it was a Halloween themed one. So I had Halloween themed stuff, but I 3D printed a bunch of Halloween stuff. And all of my 3D print stuff sold out completely. And I was like,
Really?
yeah, I was like, that was a really good sign that the 3D print is going to work for me. Amongst my other things, I probably will always sell like a combination of things, but yeah, to know that people were digging it, I'm like, cool.
See, this is what's cool is it's something I never thought about is like jumping over to a different channel, if you will. Is like maybe someone here is listening and they're a sports card streamer and they're getting frustrated. Like, what else are you into? Do some research,
Yeah,
maybe pivot. If you have a following, you're able to bring that following over with you and give it a shot. It can't hurt.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I'm so
that's too
ADHD, I can't like I have so many neurodivergencies going on. I get so bored with stuff. Like I was
me
selling
too.
rings, just rings for like months and I was like, I'm so sick of selling rings. I don't even care. So I started selling Italian charms, which are like a bracelet that you can
Yep.
wear. and modify. And then I was like, I'm gonna buy some bags. So now I have bags. And then I was like, oh, now we have a 3D printer, so I'm gonna do 3D printing, which is
But
all
that's
over the
good,
place.
right? I mean, I'm just like you. I got so bored with selling single football cards.
Yeah,
Like, so I do games and breaks, and I just try to make things interesting, and because I want to have fun doing it. If I'm not having fun, then it's not going to be fun to for, I think my audience, my customers can sense that, hey, you don't
absolutely.
really have the normal energy, and so I
Yeah.
rarely do single shows anymore. And kudos to people that do them. I'm just not really into it anymore.
Yeah, energy is like so important. I actually have a YouTube video planned for my Whatnot series just purely about energy. Like people always ask in my seller help shows, like, what is the best time of day to go live? I'm like, go live when you have the energy to do so. Because if you don't, your audience is going to feel that and you're going to start seeing that number drop and just it's the vibes. It's all about the vibes.
That's so true. It's like
Yes.
find a time where you're peaking and stick to that time.
Yes,
There's
exactly.
no like you can't, oh, it's 7:30 on a Friday. You're gonna kill it. No, that's not true.
Mm.
It's just like the time
Unless
where
you're
you're
a morning
peaking.
person.
Well, with sports cards, the weird thing is the morning shows typically do better. I think it's
Absolutely.
because people wake up and they're generally in like a positive, good mood. They're just kind of easing into the day, and I feel like they're just more
Yeah.
into like watching their phone and
First
swiping.
thing
And
they do
then
is picking up their phone.
yep. And
Yeah.
then, throughout the day, life happens. They're tired. Their kids are driving them crazy. The last thing they want to do is like buy stuff on their phone.
Right.
But it is interesting. This whole industry, and one thing that you've done a great job that I hope to do someday is just like you're a great reseller, but you're dual threat in the fact that you're able to document what you're doing,
Yeah.
put it on another social media platform, and have other people learn from it. And so let's talk about that for a, you said you kind of always wanted to do a YouTube channel, and this kind of gave you a reason to be able to do it. So what are some of the things that you enjoy about that aspect? Because it's so time consuming, and I'm so impressed you can pull it off.
I just love it so much. Like it doesn't feel, most of the time, it does not feel like a job to me. It takes hours and hours to edit YouTube videos. I think a lot of people that watch YouTube and see YouTubers making a lot of money don't understand the amount of free work we put in before we even started getting monetized, before we even started getting, enough to for it to make a financial difference, you know. But for me, it started off as a hobby and just to kind of
Yep,
like see, and also just to kind of to help people too. My love language is like I just love helping people.
you can
It
tell. You can
yeah,
tell.
it's like an ego boost for me. I always tell people during
Yeah,
my seller help shows, I'm like, guys, this is selfish. Like me helping you, that boosts me.
right.
But I love seeing people succeed based on my advice. And when people come in to my shows or just comment anywhere across my social media, I have people message me, like private message me on Whatnot and Instagram all day long saying, big long paragraph, thank you so much. Like your advice helped me so much. And I'm just like, that's exactly why I'm doing this. I'm like, that just fuels my life. I love it so much. So the editing, whether it gets droning or monotonous at any time, it's absolutely worth it to
So
me.
you do all the editing yourself, is that correct?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I do it as well. My buddy's like, "Hey, I think it's called Upwork." I tried it a couple times. It's basically contractors. A con you
Oh,
you
okay.
you submit what you want for an editor, and
Yeah.
it's like a dating app, and then they start like sending you their bios,
Yeah.
and then you choose. And so I did it twice with two different editors, and at the end, like it was a little more polished and shiny, but it wasn't mine.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Even though editing can be cumbersome and very time consuming, I'm
Mhm.
gonna do it myself because it's my own baby and I want it to be exactly the way I want it to be. Even
Yes.
it might not be clean and polished up like they can do, but I can live with that.
But it'll
Um,
get there at
yeah,
some point. My
yeah.
first video versus my last video, like, ew, don't even go and watch my first YouTube video. It's awful.
I have never gone back and looked at my first podcast. I don't want to do it. I'd
Don't
be
do
so
it.
embarrassed. Um, Walk me through how you were able to stay patient with your content, knowing that like big picture wise, I'm putting out good content. I'm just not getting the subscribes and the likes and the views yet. And so tell me a little about that process, how that was. Because I mean, I saw one video. You have 63,000 views, and that is that your best video?
That is my best video,
I mean,
yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
63,000 views. Crazy.
I honestly, the thing about YouTube is that there is no black and white. There's no rhyme or reason. The algorithm doesn't make any flipping sense. The way you get paid doesn't make any sense. There's no, if you ever see a video that says, "Here's how to get $10,000 on YouTube in your first year." No, that's not how it works. It's not how it happens.
I love that video, by the way, how you broke it down, where it all depends on like who the target
Yeah.
market is. Like
Yeah,
that determines.
exactly.
Yeah.
Your audience matters a lot, you know? Um, and that's something I knew going into YouTube because I had already done so much research on it. So I knew that the process was going to be slow. And just something I kind of learned going into my 30s is that success just isn't linear. It just isn't. You're gonna have a general upward slope, but it's gonna go like on its way up, So
Yeah. Yeah.
so I know that when I'm on the downward part of it and things aren't going as well, I'm like, at some point it's going to go back up because I'm only going up. If you look
Yep.
at the whole since I started on YouTube, it's only gone up, even if it's gone up and down. So
Hmm.
I choose to look at it like that. I am not patient, by the way.
That's good
I'm
though.
not a
Yeah.
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 I'm not a patient person. I just know that everything's going to be okay and I'm heading in the right direction. So I'm just happy with that.
Love that. Selling on Whatnot. You sold over 4,000 items, perfect 5 stars review, under 1 day shipping, which I think is the most important thing if you ask me.
Yeah.
You talk about kind of like being purposeful when you're running your show and how you determine giveys. You talk about more of a, I think you use the word vanity, like followers.
Yeah, like a vanity
I had a
metric.
yeah, I had a podcast a couple of weeks ago. Jay, his name is, and he goes by Rice Cake Bandit. It's a weird name. Great streamer, by the way. But he
Hmm.
he talks about building a natural room. He's like, that's what I want. He's like,
Yep.
I don't chase the followers. I don't do the $100 cards to get, thousands of people in my room. I want a natural room full of buyers and people who enjoy my show. And I can tell you're obviously aligned with that. So
Yeah.
um talk about that as far as let's say a new streamer, excuse me, a new streamer is looking, this is brand new to them, and they're trying to choose like, hey, what avenue do I go down? Like, should I do should I join the screamers? Should I put out outlandish gibbies to build a following? Like, what should I do? And I know this is something that you do on Whatnot, your help videos or your help
Mhm.
shows. So, kind of at its core, what should someone new focus on?
I have, my very first video in my Whatnot series goes through this completely. So if you want like a super, super thorough answer, that video is the one to go with. But
Yep.
yeah, like you said, natural organic growth. Um, your most important thing is building your room. Like thinking about it as you are building your community and you're the center of it. So you're thinking of yourself as the center of it. The first people that buy from you, those are like your first buyers. And if they come back, they become regulars. And if they're regulars, you nurture them. In the very
Mhm.
beginning, every single person that bought from me, no matter if if it was their first time or not, I would write down, this was when I was selling rings after I gave up on clothing. I would write
Yep.
down their username, write down their real name, I would write down their ring size and the metal colors that they liked and the styles that they liked and anything that they said during my stream that reminded me of them, like their dog's name or something that happened to them or whatever
Yep.
they
I love
were.
that.
And then it got to a point where I had too many and too many people on like too many buyers that I didn't have time to write it all down. And I was like,
Right.
okay, well, this is the point where obviously I've grown that web now. I've got my regular buyers and then I've got my buyers that might come in like once a month and I still remember who they are. So build your community, nurture your regulars. That's definitely the most important thing. Don't even do givvies to start off with. You're going to figure out your givvy structure later on. You do not have to start off doing givvies.
Ooh,
Don't
I
do
like that. That's
$1
that's a hot
starts.
take. I've never heard anyone say that. That's
Oh
great.
yeah,
Because people think the opposite, right?
right,
Oh, I
yeah.
got to,
Start
I, I
with
got to do
givvies. Just
givvies to get the room.
yeah, give away the biggest mistake that I hear all the time is like, "Oh, I did my first shows and I owed Whatnot money. And it's like, well, how do you owe Whatnot money? Oh, because you gave stuff away for free and you didn't make enough money to cover it. Like, you have to give yourself a limit, you know? And I don't know what it's like in the sports cards category, but for the categories that I sell in, starting with $1 starts for, you know, clothing items or things that you probably paid more than a dollar for, you're losing money if you have not built the room that can support $1 starts yet. Because Whatnot takes more than half of that dollar when
I know.
you sell something for a dollar. So if you don't have the room that's going to bid it up yet, you're losing money. And I was actually going to ask you, you know,
Yeah.
sports cards category or any category at all, would you recommend that newer streamers go into debt to create their following, or, you know, start their starting bids at a starting bid that makes sense for them to sell and actually make money? That's, I feel like that's a question I
I
see a
don't
lot
like
of.
answering this, but there's a definite answer to this, and you have to go in debt.
Yeah. Okay.
If you, and I think that may be where the difference is. If you tried to jump on Whatnot and sell cards
Yeah.
at maybe 50% of the comp, you're not going to get anybody in the room. People go onto Whatnot to find deals, right?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so there's something psychological about starting at a dollar and just watching people swipe up and get to an okay level.
Yeah.
And so I've seen it time and time again, Taylor, when because I see veteran streamers do it where they try to price the card at like 80% and they'll lose the room. No one's going to do it because it's not a perceived deal then
Yeah.
from the buyer's perspective. So yes, unfortunately, and we tell this to all the new streamers is you will take a hit,
Yeah.
right? And
Mhm.
so the key is making those mistakes and not repeating them. And then eventually the light goes on. And I made a video on this. The profit is in the purchase.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to make the money, not on the swiping and trying to get like 100% comps on a card. If you can buy that card at 30% comps, that takes all the pressure off when you're selling that live. Now, if you can get it to like 60% of the comp, uh, you made some money, right?
Yeah.
And so
Mhm.
to answer your question, long-winded, but yes, unfortunately in the card world, yeah, you got to start at a buck or two. Two
Yeah.
bucks, I think, is better. A dollar, like you said, Whatnot takes half of it. You're paying
Yeah.
on shipping costs and materials, and you're making maybe a quarter if you're
And it
lucky.
depends on
So
what you paid for that card too. If you end
exactly
up,
right.
again, I don't know anything about sports cards, but I've been at garage sales where someone sells a massive box of sports cards. There's got to be thousands in there for like $10. So you're spending pennies, you know.
Yes.
So you're not like, it's not that crazy, but like when it comes to clothing, the clothing side, like you cannot thrift clothing for less than $5 at like a normal thrift store. You
Mm,
know, at the bins locations, it's just under $2.
okay.
Even if you get items for free, the shipping supply, you know, cards are probably a lot easier to ship
A
because
lot
they're
easier.
so small, you know, and they're
Yeah.
flat. Like clothing and like breakables and anything that you need like extra packing supplies with. So in my categories that I sell in, like you can't start off at a dollar and like
No way.
expect to make money because you're gonna go way into debt, like way far into debt. So
Yeah.
that's an interesting way that that differs from sports cards for sure.
Well, I think you brought up just the shipping aspect. I think one thing that people don't realize is when they start streaming is you're turning your house into a business, into a factory.
Yeah.
Like now you got to worry about
My
shipping
God.
supplies and like where are you going to package all this stuff? And I couldn't
Yeah.
even imagine like clothes or people that sell electronics or all that. Like that's why they rent out warehouses because they have to, right? Like
Yes. I
it's
used to think my
crazy.
1,800 square foot house was huge. I was like so proud. I'm like, I love this house. It's massive. It's got 3 bedrooms. And then we started this and I was like, holy crap, I need like double this size. So that's actually one of the reasons why I started selling rings was because the clothing was taking up so much space. Like my whole hallway was just, I have one hallway in my house and it was just lined with racks of clothes. And I was like, this isn't gonna do. Like, this is my
No
home.
way.
This is where I live. And so I was like, you know what? I can fit 1,000 rings in a box like this big. So we're gonna
Yeah,
switch to,
actually, just this morning I was watching your shipping profile video, and the simplicity of jewelry, right? You can
yeah,
only all you have to do is use one profile, small
yep.
box, and it's
Very
out. You know,
easy.
yeah,
My orders almost never go to 5 pounds, so I never have to worry about like the shipping settings beyond 5 pounds,
cards
you
too.
know? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we've
this whole
mastered
flat
it.
rate shipping nonsense did not affect me at all.
We've mastered it like where we can put four cards in one small envelope now, and I mean,
Hey,
it's great. It saves the customer from shipping costs, and it's easy for us as well. So.
Yeah, and
You got to
envelope
be
shipping is
super
so
frugal
cheap.
when it comes to that.
Yeah,
Sorry,
absolutely.
I missed you. I missed
Oh,
that.
the first class mail letter. I mean, that's like a huge hack in the giveaway world too, is if you're giving away a card or anything that's flat that can fit in an envelope that only costs you
Right.
8 cents right now. So, like, that's awesome.
I have one more question, and but before that, do you have any more questions for me? And that's okay if you
Oh, I
don't.
have so many written down. I think we
Okay.
answered most of them. We kind of talked about, I had down like, do you think the same selling techniques work across every whatnot category, or are sports cards in their own world? I think we kind of talked about like the similarities um, between the two categories, but I don't know if we really talked about like selling techniques in general. Like, you and I both agree that like screaming at your audience and telling them that, that how many seconds are left in the auction and, being really high pressure is both not our vibe. But is there anything that you do that's different, do you think, from other categories, like in the sports category, as far as like selling techniques
I
goes?
try to be unique and I try to do different things. Just last night I did a break. So a break is like you buy a brand new box of football cards and you break it online and people typically pay it for a team. What I
Okay.
did last night is I put 6 teams up, and so 6 people bought a team, and I gave the rest away as gibbies.
Oh, wow.
So
That's cool.
so not only did I break even and make a little money, I was able to give everyone a really good time, and 15 people got a free team in my show. And
Yeah.
so that was fun for me. It was fun for them. And I think that's the one thing that I focus on is like, can I give them a fun experience? Without getting them feeling they got hosed. There's a lot of
Yeah.
shows on, especially sports cards, where they do those crazy mystery packs.
Yeah.
I see people spend $100, Taylor, and then they open up the mystery pack and it's a $5 card. I'm like, I
Hey,
never want to do that. Um,
no.
I want to get back to one thing that is important because I think I've done about 29 podcasts now, and everyone says, you got to build a network, you got to build a community, and I wholeheartedly agree. I think that's important. But I think you're the first person to say you have to nurture your customers, and I think that is so, so incredibly important. And that's something that I always do. One thing that I do, especially recently, uh, Whatnot has all the analytics. They will tell you who your best buyers are the past week, the past month, the past 2 years. So before any show I have, I take a look. Sometimes I'll go back 6 months, sometimes I'll go back a year, sometimes maybe 2 months. And I'll look at see who my best buyers are, and I'll create a coupon code just for them.
I love
And I'll
that.
mess and I'll spend a half an hour messaging each one individually saying, "Hey, you've been recognized as one of my top buyers. Thank you so much. Here's $5 off your next $20 purchase. I have a show tonight. Here's what I'm running. You might be interested. Thanks again." And so that's free. I
Yeah,
mean,
it is.
you know what I mean?
Well,
Sure, if they use a
minus
coupon,
the
big
cost of the
deal.
coupon, but
Yeah,
yeah.
but like, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that people need to be doing more because I mean,
Yes.
Whatnot gives you those tools, and if you're not doing that, you're kind of just like rolling the dice. And hey, I hope my regulars show up.
Yeah.
Give them a reason to show up. Um, so I'm like you. I'm very impatient. And I always want to like try different things and keep moving forward. So my brain is always working, Taylor. Like, how do I level up? How do
Right.
I have more fun? How do I make more money? How do I get more customers?
Yep.
Like,
The wheels are
I'm
always spinning in here.
always spinning, always spinning. And that's why I'm so happy to have you on because you do such a great job at both of the things that I'm trying to do. And so we'll probably talk more offline about just overall how you're able to come up with your ideas on YouTube, the ideation, the creation, how you execute upon that. Maybe we can talk about that right now. And so, like, you just mentioned that you have a piece coming up. So, kind of walk me through how you're able to, like, do you just whiteboard a bunch of stuff?
I have a whiteboard in my head, kind of.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying really hard to like actually write things down. Like I've recently bought a new notebook, and I'm like trying. I wrote my questions down
Congratulations.
here. Thanks. As if you're a neurodivergent person too, you know how hard it is. Like we have so much going on in here, and none of it's organized. It's just like a bunch of post-it notes flying around in a crazy room with a bunch of fans. Like
Yes.
that's kind of how I view the inside of my head. But gosh, I just feel like there is an endless amount of content I could create around the topic that I'm doing. Like, especially when it comes to whatnot. And I kind of base it off the questions that I get. If I get the same questions a lot, and one of them was shipping, oh my gosh, people are like, I don't understand shipping. Shipping is so scary. Shipping this, shipping that. And I'm like, well, obviously, I'm going to make a video about shipping because that's what everyone's talking about. So I kind of base it off of the questions that I get from people. Um, and also, when it comes to like non whatnot related videos, I just do what sounds like fun to me. And I always share like my initial content is really just about reselling. So every month I usually share like what I made and what sold
Which I
video.
love. Very
Yeah,
transparent.
if
Yep.
you're yeah, if you're selling on eBay, Poshmark, Depop, whatever, everyone wants to know what is selling so they know what to look for. So those videos always explode. And by explode I mean they get more views than the other views the other videos on my channel, not explode like the whatnot video I have that's got 60 something thousand views on it now.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, and that video, that's again another talk about the algorithm. That one, I think the only reason that one is getting as many views as it is, because in my opinion, when I watch that video, I'm like, this is not a good video. Like, I don't think it's that good of a video. I just think that it came out at exactly the right time because I posted it right before Mr. Beast did his whatnot show, and he brought
Yep.
so many new people to the platform,
So
buyers
it's just
and sellers.
timing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and he's a
interesting.
YouTuber too. So people were like, "Oh, maybe I should look into this probably." And that's where my video
Hmm.
pops up because it was new. So I think honestly, right time, right place on that video, but I'll take it. I made more money off of that video than I have on any others.
I was just gonna ask, obviously that must have been your most profitable video, right?
Yeah, right now I think it's
Yeah.
close to like $800 just on that video alone.
That's
So
all. That's amazing.
yeah, it's great.
But then like 12,000 views, 10,000 views, and then
Yeah.
are you ever surprised when you do a video and it doesn't really take off? You're like, man, I thought it was such a good
Yeah,
video, and
yeah,
like,
all the time. I'm like, why? So, like, I knew I wasn't sure what to expect on the video I just recently shared about my YouTube income because people aren't following me for that. They're following me for the resale part, but it
yep,
does align with my content because I'm very transparent about how much I make and it's part of my work from home life. So I was like, maybe I should share this with my audience so that they know how much of an impact they've had on my income.
sure.
And I was like, maybe I'll grab some of the people who are also like trying to build their own YouTube channels and also working from home, and they might enjoy my content too. But that video is under 1,000 views still, and it's been up for a couple weeks. And I was just like, okay, that's whatever. But again, the algorithm just makes no sense. So
And all of a sudden something could happen. All of a sudden people flock to that video, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's like my last 4 or 5 podcasts have been very low, and I'm just reminding myself like it's a process, it's a journey. Don't
Uh,
sweat it.
what
And then
I've
all of a
learned
sudden, yeah.
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, what I've learned is that on YouTube especially, and you and I can talk about this behind the scenes as well, but on YouTube, what I've learned is that it's more about how you package it than what's on the inside. Not that what's on the inside does not count, but
Sure.
I've got videos that I know aren't that great on the inside, but because I titled it a certain way,
And the
or
thumbnail's perfect,
yeah,
and
I
yeah,
used a
yeah.
certain thumbnail, more people clicked on it and were interested in it, which is, automatically charts it as a view, and then perspective value. The more views it has, the more people are going to click on it. So, that
I
matters
feel
too.
like just if
Clickbait
you
is a
made
thing.
one, just a frustrated face, and this topic was, ugh, what not shipping? You'll get
Yeah.
you get 1,000 views, and it couldn't even, and it might even be talking about something else, but just based off a good thumbnail and a
Hmm.
good title, they're gonna be like they're gonna flock to it.
Yes, exactly.
All
Yep.
right,
Those are all the
last
little,
question. It goes by fast, doesn't it? We've only
it
been
really
on for
does.
like half an hour. My final question, I always like to, obviously our goal is world domination, but underneath that, if you take a look, it's August 4th, 2026, Taylor. What are some long-term goals that you have for your business? Like, not going to say the cheesy in 5 years, where do you see yourself? But in the next year or two, what are some
Yeah.
things that you're aspiring to accomplish?
I'm hoping that within a year or two is a great little span of time. I'm hoping that my husband will be able to completely quit his job. Like,
Nice.
I think
Yep.
that would be awesome. He's already just like he hates being there 24 hours a week of pretty much no productivity, like not doing anything. So he's really bored. And I would hope that I hope my YouTube channel gets to a point where I'm making, maybe a couple grand a month from it.
That'd
Maybe
be
not
amazing.
full-time income, but like enough to like make such a huge difference.
Sure.
And I really need to get more consistent with my whatnot. I was so consistent for a while, and then I had an inventory issue, and I canceled like all my shows for a month. So I'm looking forward to getting back on whatnot more consistently, and I want to grow that too. To be honest, I mean, I was a little bit surprised that you reached out because like I don't get that many people in my whatnot shows. I get like maybe like 15 people in my shows. It's not
But I
like
bet it's good people, right? I
it's
mean,
yeah,
yeah,
it's 15 like of my closest whatnot friends. By the way, the whatnot community is freaking spectacular. I've met
it
some of my
really is.
absolute best friends on that app.
Yeah.
So when people trash talk whatnot, I'm like, no. I'm like
You're hurting me and my friends. I met
yes, I'm like,
some of my awesome friends are just whatnot that I've never even met,
yes,
And so yeah, I mean
exactly.
that's
Yeah, I'm
it's a
like,
beautiful world.
I've never met these girls in person. Like we have a whole like group chat of I think there's like 10 of us in a group chat and we're all just so supportive and lift each other up. But I hope to let that community grow as well. And just to help as many people as I can because I think a lot of people just need a little encouragement and just a little confidence boost and you can just achieve whatever you want.
What an absolute pleasure. I cannot wait to chat with you more. We have so much to talk about outside of this podcast, but thank
Yeah.
you so much. Wasn't as painful as you thought, was it?
No, I didn't think it was going to be painful. You and I connected right off the bat. Like, as
Yeah.
soon as you texted me, and I was like, oh my God, that would be so fun. And you were like, I like your energy. I was like, I like your energy.
Little did we know we were both from Wisconsin,
I
the
know.
state of
That's
cheese and
probably
beer.
way we vibe so well together. Just
I
cheeseheads,
freaking
you
love
know?
it. Oh, I think my daughter just pooped in the toilet, so we're celebrating. I better go celebrate. Life gets in the way. Oh, hold on. Hold on, Lucy.
Congratulations.
Okay, thanks. My 5-year-old just came over and told me Maya pooped. That's her third poop in the toilet. As a parent,
Yep,
that's a huge
it is.
not obstacle, but a huge accomplishment. And so I
Oh
think
my
I
gosh.
think I almost cried the first time she pooped in the toilet.
Yay. Oh my God, potty training was so miserable for me. I will ne I do not ever want to go back to potty training ever.
You know
The
what's what made
worst.
it tough, Taylor? That our older one, Lucy, was a piece of cake, and we're like,
Yeah,
what are these parents talking about? This is easy. And then
right?
Maya came along, and she was like, "Nope, I'm 4 years old and still crapping in diapers." And
Yep.
so, but
They'll do it when they're ready, not when you tell them they're ready.
damn straight, damn straight. That's why we love them. So again, I can't thank you enough. We'll definitely have you back. Obviously, you should start a podcast, by the way, Taylor,
Oh my God, you're not the first
because you're
person to
not
say
busy
that.
enough.
Then I'm like, who the heck wants to listen to my squeaky voice? Like,
Everyone, look at all your views. People love you. They want more of you, Taylor.
that was my first hate comment I ever got, so I'm a little hung up on that. Like my first ever hate
What?
comment was like, "Oh
It
my
took that
God, you
long?
sound like a Kardashian." Yeah. No,
Thanks.
it was within the first like couple months of posting YouTube videos.
Okay.
I'm like,
And listen, people, we're human too. It stings when people t when you're hating, we're reading it. It hurts,
yeah,
but
I read
you know
every
what?
single one of my comments. So,
That means you're making it, right? I was just talking to my friend who was some
yep.
guy was going after him on Instagram. Like, hey, that means you
No,
made it.
you
Congratulations.
celebrate. Yeah, I pinned that comment to the top of that YouTube video and I said, "Guys, look, I got my first hate comment." We all celebrated.
You should print that on a t-shirt and sell them. That'd be
I know,
hilarious.
right? Yeah,
Or
the whole
buttons or something cheap. Well,
hmm.
again, thank you so much. I really appreciate you and looking forward to working with you and chatting with you in the future.
Thank you. It was nice being here.
Awesome.